but I do wake up early when pickups call for it. I don't do this often, but every couple of weeks or so, I'll line up a few pickups with one place really far away and work my way backwards. So today, I figured I'd do a video talking about whether buyers on eBay are reasonable or whether they're all out to kind of, get something out of us. That's a constant conversation topic about how if we don't protect ourselves against buyers will take advantage of us. So I'm going to share with you a few stories, and I hope that there's a moral at the end of this and there's something that we can take away. So the first one is, there was a buyer that I sent a carded car to. So we're talking toy car in a blister on a card, okay? And the cars are a fairly sought after car. These cars retail for $2. This one I sold for $50. And because it's sought after, plus it's also one of the first editions. Anyways, point being is, relative to the value of the car at the time when it was available, it's a decent markup. The car arrives, and the first message I get is caps lock WTF, exclamation mark. You didn't note this in the condition. At least pick photos of, like, just a barrage of, like, I'm angry. And here's what he was angry about. The card had a little doggy ear kind of curl on one of the corners. And I get why he's upset. The card, it's a sought after car, and because these cards are stored in shallow boxes, so we're not stacking them 10 20 levels high. We're talking a couple of levels, and they're kind of narrow boxes. Point being, I do my best to store it, but still occasionally the cards do split, because if you know, cardboard is essentially layers and layers of really, really, really thin paper. And so if you pack it or sometimes with what's the word, not moisture, the opposite of moisture, dryness, the cardboard does split, and I didn't notice that it was splitting. And how can you? It's like saying the glass arrived broken, but it was caused by a crack that the eye couldn't see, but just something in the packing process, something in the transit process caused that crack to go hello, and then ta-da, broken. So obviously I'm annoyed by this, because my feedback is spotless. I pack these items as if they could be tossed around, kicked around. But something about this particular card, because it's obviously been stored in a previous collection before, and we cleared out that collection, and it's given way. Okay, so there's a little doggy here, but he's justifiably annoyed, because he sent me this photo, and when I look at the photo of the card that he sent me, in the background I see a bunch of like mint carded cards hanging on a wall. So this guy's clearly a collector. He hangs it up. My first thought is, this is annoying, because I feel like he's being particular, but I don't know what he wants. So I say to him, would you like to send the thing back to me for a refund, or would a partial refund do? Now I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, no, don't do the partial refund, he's trying to get a free car. Well, not really. Well, we don't know at this point, and I'm going to keep hammering this point. You don't, until you know, you don't know. And so he goes, I explained to him, it must have been nicked in the packing process. Must have been nicked as on the. I just said, look, it's an on the way thing, because if you look at the picture of the actual item, there was no doggy ear flap. So clearly, it must have happened along the way. And I said, look, I'm really sorry. Would you like to return the item for a full refund? I'll pay for the shipping back, or will a partial refund do? Because I feel like he still wants the car. Okay, so. To those people like, don't give the partial refund, he clearly wants the item, he wants it for free. It's not that extreme. You don't know until you know. He says partial's fine. Literally left me an open check to kind of fill out, right? Do I put $10? Do I put $20? Do I put $30? Do I give him the full refund? It's my choice. First of all, I checked to see if this person has bought from me before. He has left me good feedback, and so we've done business together before. And this person clearly isn't a nutcase. I looked at his feedback, he seems pretty reasonable. So I went, look, card mint out of packet is about $30. So I went, how's the $20? I said, I'll give you back $20. So that way it's essentially as good as an opener. But as far as I'm concerned, right, this guy can probably still display it because the blister hasn't popped. It's still pretty much new on packet. He can still do what he wants to do with it, which is put it on his wall, except it's just that his expectations were not met. I give him 20 bucks back. He goes, thank you. Yep, that's fair. Reasonable buyer. Even though it started with a whole bunch of like caps lock WTF, what, you know, you should have done this, should have done that, you know. His messaging towards me was very emotional, could have set me up to be quite defensive. But once again, I don't know until I know. I proceed to inquire with a level head. Tip number one, if you get that kind of message and you don't know how to reply with a level head, take a step back. Walk away. Something someone taught me actually back when I was a finance broker was, if you get a scathing email and you don't know what to do with it, copy that email onto Word and then delete every emotional word that you see. Like you, adjective, delete all those words and just replace those words with broker has done this, bank has done this, and it gives you a real clear picture of like who has done what, and that's it, and work with that. See if that works for you. If the exercise feels like it's not worth the effort, trust me, it is. Because if you do it enough times, you'll come to realize that every message essentially is just, I wanted something, something didn't happen, I now don't know what to do. And it will show you very clearly that just like how you don't know what to do with your buyer and you should be asking questions to figure that out, the buyer actually is just as clueless as you are. They don't know what to do until they have asked you, until they've reached out to you. But even in reaching out to you, it's an uncomfortable experience because they're upset. So they're upset, they've reached out to you. Your job isn't to get upset with them. Your job is to realize, I need to probably meet them somewhere and start making that journey. Okay, so that's the first story. Second story, literally 2 weeks later, I sent a bunch of cars to a different buyer, also another repeat buyer. And this buyer received it was like a mix of carded cars, loose cars. We're talking like $200, like a $200 order. It's a good order for me as far as toy cars is concerned. Message comes and goes, hey mate, all the cars came, pretty happy, like very happy with them as always. But this one got popped out of the card. Pretty annoyed by that. And I went, man, that's not good. Because once again, right, these cars, they're held together by glue on card. No matter how well you pack them, sometimes the slightest bump can make the blister just pop off because the glue's already dry. These are old collectible cars. I said to him, I'm really sorry, how can I make this right for you? Open-ended question. I'm literally writing him an open check at this point. Those of you who are like, oh no, don't do that, he's gonna take advantage of it, right? That's what you see on social media. I allow that situation because I'm giving the buyer a chance to inform me what kind of person they are. Up until that point, we've only had good experiences with this person. This was the third time they bought from me. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving them the chance to show me or prove my assumptions right, that he's actually fairly reasonable. Guess what? Reply comes back, nah mate, nothing much you can do about it. It happens. And I reply back with, I know, I'm still pretty annoyed that it happened, but thanks for letting me know. I'll have to figure out how to pack even better. I mean, I can't go backwards now, can I? Kind of like a sense of humor, like my mates, like, yeah, no, there's no way I can't do a worse job. I can only do a better job. And his reply was like, that's it. See? So 2 stories are going to show you that the same problem happened. 2 collectors. One of them started from a very emotional place, but I managed to sort that out. I gave them a fairly reasonable number, such that if they came back and fussed more, it's like, what's the point, or what's a couple bucks? I gave him a chance, he gave me a chance. We met each other pretty much in the middle, and that was that. Second situation, buyer wasn't happy with something, well, disappointed, annoyed. I asked if I can do anything to make it right. They went, nah, all good. You know what can you do about it? I mean, it's already done. Which goes to show that until you find out, you don't know. Until you know, you don't know. It sounds so simple, but it saves you so much headache as a seller if you're not fixating on the what if. And it's hard to do. And oftentimes, inquiry is the way to go about it. Asking questions is something that a lot of us really should spend time to improve. That way, you don't start taking your whole experience to social media and expecting everybody to go, yeah, do this, do that. guess what? Nobody else on social media knows what's happening on the buyer's end, and nobody can find out for you. That's the funny part about all this, right? Some of us get so afraid to talk to our buyers that we think that if we go to social media, we'll be able to crowdsource some sort of solution that will help us to get an answer. The fact is, nobody knows. Literally, nobody knows. If I have a problem with Jenny, right, and rather than go talk to her, as sometimes as intimidating, as scary as it may seem, because you know what, she's upset, maybe I'm in trouble, maybe there's something I don't know about. Like, you talk about I have no clue what's going on, I literally don't know why she's upset. You guys will be like, yeah, go talk to her. Exactly. If I go outside and I take a poll of 1 million people and they're like, she's probably feeling this way because, guess what? Nobody can none of that is more accurate than me just going to talk to her, as scary as that may seem. That's what I'm getting at. Until you know, you don't know. And I'm here to tell you that most buyers will tell you. Emotionally, but they'll still tell you. Reasonably, but they'll still tell you. Not everybody wants a solution. Not everybody wants a monetary, like a partial refund. It's not that clear cut. And I feel like when you go to Facebook and you read these posts about how orders have gone sideways because items are broken, yada yada yada. First of all, can we get something straight, right? The responsibility lies with the seller. Full stop. If you ship something to somebody and Australia Post has treated it like a footy, Australia Post has treated it like, the post office has decided that the fragile sticker was written in a completely different language and they've just ruined the whole parcel. The responsibility lies with the seller as the buyer is concerned, which means that it's the seller's job to go fix it. You don't go tell the buyer to sort it out with us with the post office. That's not right. You don't tell the buyer to just, well, I guess you should have whatever. No, the buyer does nothing. The buyer buys, the buyer expects to receive. If the seller cannot figure out which shipping company will send the items well, then it's the seller's fault. Literally it. If I buy something from Kmart, if I buy something from Maya, if I buy something from Foot Locker, whoever it may be, right, and they ship me an item and the item's ruined, I go back to the seller and the seller either refunds me, requests me to return it, they compensate me. I don't have to go do anything else. If I have to do anything else, I am perfectly entitled to leave a scathing 1-star negative star report on Google, like review, right? That's the relationship. And so whenever a post ends up on Facebook, and I'm not saying don't do it, I feel like whenever we go there, we expect support without recognizing where the balance actually lies. When a seller, new or experienced, goes onto Facebook and starts complaining, here are pictures that were sent to me, I feel like this buyer is trying to scam me, I feel like I should be getting compensation, I feel like they should go sort it out. No, you're starting with completely misaligned responsibilities and then expecting us to support you. And the funny thing is, right, in a big enough group, you will get support and then you'll start to believe that, you know what, that's right, everybody else who doesn't support me can go, kick rocks. The ones who do support me, they are the ones who are right. No, they could very easily be the ones who are wrong, because you have to match what you are doing online with what everybody experiences in real life. Go with that example. That's the common sense. Okay, so back to buyers, when they give you feedback, when they bother to actually contact you, because suffering in silence is a thing. When buyers suffer in silence, you'll never know. And just because they are silent about something, you should not assume that that's a win for you. So now, if buyers bother to raise something with you, it means that they want some sort of acknowledgement. It could be just, as in the case of the second story, I'm sorry, what can I do for you? Just acknowledging and presenting a posture of, let me fix it if there's a way I can fix it. Buyer, sometimes that's good enough for a buyer. Not that I'm hoping that's the outcome. I'm very much prepared to financially compensate if they want one. But if they go, nah, it's okay, look, I get it happens, then that's it, right? They are happy. All they wanted was some sort of acknowledgement that, I've noted their concern and I'm not going to do it again. That's it. And it can be very easy overreact to the really emotionally charged requests, such that the next time a buyer comes along, you start to not want to inquire anymore. I get that. If you get yelled at enough times, you start to not want to talk to anybody. That's human nature. But please remember that you are selling stuff online. You're on the internet. People are so varied on the internet. You pretty much have to reset and give everybody the same fair chance, fresh chance, as if you've never been yelled at before. That's the only logical thing to do. Because if you don't do that, you're doing yourself a disservice as a business owner. You're not growing in your ability to service your customers. You're not upgrading your ability to provide solutions. You're just becoming more and more scared, in which case you really shouldn't be selling on the internet. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. You pretty much have to develop some sort of a thick skin, because can you imagine if you think about it, we go back to real life, right? You think about people who have baggage. Every time they go into relationships, they meet new friends, they bring that same baggage in, and they just assume everybody's out to get them. They assume everybody's out to scam them. They assume that everybody is out to, make their lives a living hell. Eventually, they just repeat that cycle over and over again, isn't it? Like friends leave, more friends leave, and then they start saying, you know what, the world sucks, people are horrible, and you meet people like that. They're completely jaded. They feel like friends are not worth their time. They feel like it's better to be alone. They feel like, doing things in a group setting is too hard. I'd rather just do things alone. It becomes a very lonely existence, and you don't want your business to become that kind of business. You don't want your business to be that kind of lonely existence business. The fact is, for a business to grow, for a business to thrive, you need more, not less. You need more people. You need more customers. You need a fountain of youth replenishing flow of customers. And for that to happen, you need to give every customer a fair shot. And that starts with having an attitude, a posture of inquiry. Recognizing that until I know, I don't know. When customers come emotionally charged, there are ways that I can remove, copy their messages. And here's the thing, right? The best part about eBay, they're doing it via text. They're not doing it over the phone where you have to answer on the spot. They're yelling, but they're not yelling. You know what I mean? So you can copy the messages, take a step away, remove all the emotional words, see what they're really asking you to do. You can learn to realign your expectations so that you actually take responsibility for the things that are the seller's responsibility, not the buyer's. Here's another morning traffic. Here's another thing you can do. Ask the buyers if when items arrive broken. I've done this before and I found it quite insightful. Doesn't happen all the time, because most of the things that we send don't break. There have been items that have broken before where I've asked the buyer, by the way, is it we use this particular courier this time, is it common for this courier to do this in your area? Because I know that the drivers are different, they're all subcontractors, and I just wanted to know whether does this, because we packed it really well, does this driver, do you get packages from this particular, I'm trying not to say the provider, does this particular provider always ship items really banged up? Like, does Australia Post versus this provider, those parcels right better? Because the drivers will be different. And they were like, yeah. And then we had this conversation about, wow, actually it's not, and it wasn't me trying to shift the blame, but it really got me, it was like a process of like, let's figure this out, right? Let's figure out if it really is my packing. Because we did this, we did that, we did this, we look at our feedback. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you're wrong and but I'm very curious to know if it could be the provider. And then they actually reply with, oh my gosh, whenever stuff comes from them, it's always like the packaging's got the corners are dented, sometimes even the boxes have cuts in them. I'm like, how rough are they? I'm like, well, maybe it could be worth asking. It could actually be worth filing a complaint with them locally, because it could just be the driver, or it could be that you whenever you buy something on eBay, just ask that they don't use this supplier, because I used it because it was a lot cheaper to send it to your location with the courier. Otherwise I would have used Australia Post. And they were like, okay, yeah. So you see, that's a value add conversation, because we've actually made them think about how they can improve their experience if I can't actually improve the experience myself. Like it's an issue beyond me kind of thing. So, but once again, it comes down to have a chat, right? Have a chat, figure out, have a conversation. You get it. This is nice. If we time lapse this video, the sun has risen. The street lights are now off. I didn't even notice when that happened, but I was secretly kind of hoping that, you guys would like watch the sunrise with me. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Like nothing overly complicated. Because the biggest cause of stress I feel with eBay literally is that whole being afraid that the buyer is going to come back and then like, oh shit, what are we going to do next? That shouldn't be. I feel like there are way more things out of our control that we should leave our stress points for. Like if eBay, the site actually crashed for a day or two or an indefinite period, that actually does cause me stress, because I have no solution. Because essentially it's like I have no way of making money that day or for whatever period that this site is down for, and I have no idea when it's coming back online, and there's nothing I can do to manufacture an outcome or at least influence an outcome in my favor. Nothing. I can't mitigate my loss. Nothing. I essentially have to go. If the internet died, right? Like that's the kind of stuff where I go, all right, save the stress points for those days. Customer issues, just thank God for the reps. Like thank God for the opportunity to actually practice, good, solid, kind, empathetic customer service. That's it. And just recognize that most buyers just want to be heard. And once you hear them out, some of them have a dollar value in mind. If so, pay up. You did screw up after all. Because why spend the time trying? I get that there are some items that are overly expensive, and everybody has their threshold, right? Some people, it's like once it's above $500, they start treating it like no, we have to get it back. Some people, when it goes over 2,000, thresholds are different for everybody. There is no set number, and if you take it to social media to try and get an answer around with a dollar value, because some people do is like, I shipped an item worth this much, and what they're essentially hoping is that people will agree that their objective threshold, meaning the number, because up until this point it's subjective. It's like, yeah, you should do this, you should do that, responsibility, whatever, right? But then there's like, they put the number in there hoping that people will go, yeah man, that's really expensive, you should insist on the item back, versus nah, for that value you should pay up. They're trying to do this thing where if they can split the room by the number, if there's more in their favor, they'll follow that advice instead. Don't do that. You've got your own threshold. If you want the item back, put in the effort to get the item back. If you don't want the item back and you feel like it's not worth your time, let the item go, partial refund, and move on and make more sales. The fact is, there's no item that is so rare that you can't find it again. You're the seller. You're the one who if anybody can source and supply it again, it's you. So why suddenly, all of a sudden, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's so rare, that's so expensive, you should get it back, then suddenly you feel like I should get it back. The fact is, some of us are wired to get it back, some of us are wired to let it go and move on. Just lead into the kind of person that you are, because like I'm all for social media to provide opinions. What I'm not for is when social media people start relying on social media like a right or wrong, as opposed to a source of just preference opinion. Like, consider it, but don't treat majority opinion as truth, because that's not always the case. I love how so this started out as like a buyer thing, and it's now a whole commentary on social media, but we're already here, so let's talk about it. I love how when you go to some of these really large social media like eBay groups, and you'll get a post which goes, everybody here is a negative Nancy, everybody here is not helpful, like this sweeping statement, this group sucks, this group sucks, this group sucks, right? And then you realize the group has 20,000 members. Most of these posts that are negative, there are maybe 100 or so comments. The majority of the people don't even bother commenting anymore. You'll never be able to verify this, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the majority that are helpful probably don't help anymore, but they just in the group anyways, because you know what, it's still helpful information. It's still worth hearing when the site's down, hearing when there's an issue, hearing when there's a glitch, because if I'm gonna hear about something that's gonna impact my business that's negative, I might as well keep the channel open for the most negative comments. The fact is, you're not getting a source of truth. You're not getting a majority opinion. You're just getting a very loud minority. As with most things really. You know, most social issues, most everything, you get a very loud minority. You very seldom get the overwhelming majority. So please be good at adjusting expectations. And speaking of adjusting expectations, when on the numbers, take note of all the... Back when I was a bank teller, I had a manager who actually asked me to do this, where he said, for this week, every time a buyer is nice to you, I want you to give yourself a tick. Write a tick on a piece of paper. Like, nice being they actually responded when you say how's your day, they say good, thank you, and then they talked more. It was past politeness. Every time a buyer, like a customer goes, yeah, good, thanks, and then it's like, that's it, right? So the pleasantries are done, do the job, move on. Just write a circle. So essentially it's tick, circle, cross. And when a customer is like, when you tell that they're coming to cause trouble, they're negative, they're just trying to make your life difficult, put an X. And actually count every single encounter and see where you end up. By the end of the week, majority of people were actually just in the middle. Most people don't really want to have a chat. Most people just want to come, get what they need to do, move on. And those are the people who also don't leave you feedback. Surprisingly, right? They're the ones who they won't tell you you've done a good job. So a lot of the there's a lot of like, I don't like that it's so hard to get feedback from buyers. How do I get more feedback? Fact is, majority of people don't care for feedback. They don't want to leave it. They don't want to have to engage with it. They don't want to have to reveal how they feel about you. They just job done, right? And the whole exercise of going to eBay just to leave the word done, good, okay, like, just feels pointless for a lot of people, especially when they buy multiple items and they're like, copy paste. Like, it just feels, it feels, the copy paste send, like done, like that. You can see how it feels really pointless from the buyer's point of view. I know you wanted to get that in for your metric, but put on the buyer's hat for a moment. If you insist on that, like, that buyer doesn't see the value in it because there's nothing in it for them. If anything, you're asking them to just do more work. So that's the middle of that. It's the mountain middle, right? And surprise, there were more ticks than crosses. So when you track it all, you go, when people say working in this job sucked. You hear that all the time. Working in retail sucks. Customers are so abusive. Customers can be so unreasonable. Really? Because on the numbers, they're not. Some of them can be, but they're just annoying everywhere. You know what I mean? So like, if they're everywhere, if they go to restaurants, they go to hospitals, does that mean that all those jobs also suck? No. It's the same minority of people who are reasonable. They think that the world owes them everything and more. There are people who complain about the government. There are people who, when they're told to do something, they don't want to do it. So those people always exist, right? They're just a subsection of society that no matter where they go, they're going to make you feel like you haven't done enough. It doesn't mean that your business and your customer base as a whole are all like that. So track your customers for a week, see how you go. And I hope that, and I have a pretty good suspicion actually, would I bet money on it? I feel like you guys are gonna... No, we're not gonna bet money. Too hard to track. But the point being is, if you do this exercise, you will find that there'll be a middle of people who just don't care. Give me my item that I paid for, won't leave feedback. And then there'll be those that will leave feedback happy, and there'll be a very small section of those who are actually not happy. And if you find that you haven't written, and if you find that over the course of the week, towards the end of the week, you're not even writing any crosses down, that kind of gives you a rough idea of where your business is at. Start accepting and loving your buyers more, because the problem child only comes back every so often. Your posture, your whole posture, is the posture. Like, I cannot stress that enough. It's the posture of the seller that influences how their business will grow, because it's this that these people see. So these people will start to appreciate you more, come back more often if they see that you're super giving, and you're not calculating with them just because of this small subsection that's ruined it for everybody. They don't have to ruin everybody. They don't. And if you find that you're getting a couple of them that, and like some sellers, right, they will use the block function. They will just, whenever they get across, they just block the buyer from second purchases. They will still do the refund. They won't bother fighting it. They'll just be like, yep. And not everybody's going to agree with me, and that's fine. I just feel like the posture, you should not allow bad apples to ruin your posture. Don't give them that power. That's it. I think that does it for today's video. For few, lest we rant on and on and on and on and on and on, because everything's connected, right? Everything's connected when it comes to reselling. Until next video, happy reselling. Thanks for tuning into this one. Hope you made it all the way to the end. And I'll see you in either a Tuesday or a Thursday live stream. Take care. Bye.